Closing a period doesn't just mean clicking a button. When we talk about closing any period, whether daily, weekly, monthly, or annually, we want to follow some best practices. There are some areas that we do not want to neglect in our closing process. Having a consistent period closing process reduces errors and prevents issues from carrying into future periods. Here are some review best practices that you want to include in your review steps prior to closing any period. The first area you'll want to look at is your charges. Have all of the charges been entered for the patients that were seen and checked out? Are any encounters missing charges or have been put on hold for any particular reason? And can you encourage and ensure the closure of those encounters? Are there pending charges that are remaining open? Is there documentation from the providers that is unclosed or unsigned? Are there any charge corrections that need to be completed? And if so, can you make those corrections? The next best practice is around payments. Have insurance payments that have been received within this period been posted and reconciled? Have the patient payments that were collected at the front desk been received, reconciled, and deposited? Have any ERAs, that is our electronic version of our insurance payments, been received and reconciled or matched to what was received in the bank? Has it matched the EFT or ACH, those direct deposit transactions that are showing up in our bank account? And if there was not an EFT, was there a physical check that was received, and was that properly deposited? And is that accounted for within our bank and our software? Do both our bank and our software financials reconcile or balance? Are there any ERAs or electronic payment details received from insurance companies or paper EOBs that were received from insurance companies outstanding and need to be completed for that particular period? Next is reviewing our escrow. Are there any amounts remaining in escrow that we were expecting to have received the payments for, so that we can now apply those payments properly within our patients' accounts? Ensuring that we follow an escrow review process on a periodic basis is going to help support our closing process. Next is making sure that we're reviewing anything else that was put on hold that need to be reviewed. So for example, any charge holds or claim holds that might impact the financials if those claims are not submitted or accounted for in this period. Last that we'll want to do is to make sure we have a full review of our financials, so ensuring that anything that was deposited into the bank matches what shows up in our software from both patient side and the insurance side. And in this step, you're going to also be reviewing any adjustments, whether expected or unexpected adjustments. We want to be sure to review these kinds of things before we close those periods. Any type of adjustment that could look a little alarming and potentially require review. The last step before we hit that close button and close those books is to review the reports from our software and ensure all of those reports look to be accurate. Then we should be ready to go ahead and close that period. After you've done this a few times within your organization, I recommend that you create your own checklist so that you can have a resource of best practice for all of the period closings that should be taking place within your practice or organization, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. Be sure to have the relevant checklist for each period so that you can ensure no steps are missed. Along with this checklist, you'll want to include ownership of certain areas. Who is responsible for making sure charges are entered? Who is responsible for ensuring that those charges have been properly closed out and encounters are ready for claims to be created? Who's responsible for things like insurance payments and patient payments and so on? Be sure to assign responsibility according to each function so it is clear who is responsible for reviewing these areas of the revenue cycle and investigating any discrepancies before closing our periods.